Hey everybody, have a little bit better of a setup in the hotel room this time. I need a haircut, but at least the setup's better. But I'm here to give you all another video on giving you my thoughts on another book I've read. And this is one of the few books that I say, if you haven't read this book yet, like stop everything you're doing, put down whatever books you're reading, stop playing whatever game you're playing, and read this book. It is written to help you change your life, and it's incredible because it does exactly that in a very simple way. This book, Own Your Past, Change Your Future by Dr. John Deloney, is a really good starting point for counseling. If you've ever thought that you might need counseling, or you've heard of counseling, therapy, whatever lingo you want to use, if somebody's told you need counseling or therapy, yeah, or even if you've just lived life, stuff happens here. Like you are born and bad things happen to you. That's just life. And if any of that applies to you, which is pretty much every living, breathing person here on earth, you need to read this book. This book, Dr. John Deloney here really effectively and simply walks you through how to identify the stories that you've told yourself through your years of living, and understand how those stories are affecting you, and shows you how you can start changing your mind into healthier thinking patterns, how to tell yourself better stories, and how to live a healthier life. And I think his introduction really sums up a lot of what his book is about. One part of the book that I highlighted, he said the stories are both the problem and the solution. So he points out a big problem here is the stories we tell ourselves of, like, when I was a kid around 5 or 6 years old, we were going to Wendy's and I tried ordering a Frosty instead of a drink, and that wasn't an option, even though I was stuck in my mind that it was going to happen. I was really confused that I couldn't do that. And that's a very simple, silly story that literally happened, but it's one of the many stories that I've told myself throughout the years of, like, yeah, that story is another reason why I'm not as smart as other people. That is evidence that I'm trying to filter out harsher words I've always said about myself. Like, this is another story that proves why I'm stupid. This story proves why I will always be the child in the room. Like, he shows us how to take those stories, look at them in a realistic way, and how to tell ourselves different things, better, healthier, probably more accurate things about the stories about what actually happened versus maybe how we have wrongly perceived those issues. And he goes on, he says, to move forward, we have to understand that our pain is in the stories and the solutions are in the stories. We all have to turn and face the stories, the good ones and the devastating ones. When we take ownership of our stories, we get to determine what happens next. In the introduction, he gives us 5 points of what he's going to talk about throughout the book. And he says, step 1 is owning your stories. Step 2 is acknowledging reality. Step 3 is get connected. Step 4 is change your thoughts. Step 5 is change your actions. And he goes through this book following that outline of, we have to identify the stories that we're telling ourselves. We have to acknowledge reality in the situation, like both now and in the stories we're telling ourselves. And then we have to process it with other people. You can't fix yourself entirely on your own in this area. You need help doing that, whether it's through a pastor, a counselor, ideally spouse and family. You need a support system. You can't heal on your own. And he shows how to change your thoughts so you don't write new bad stories in your head. And then how to change your actions, because your actions affect your thoughts and your thoughts affect your actions. It's a symbiotic relationship that the one affects the other. So yeah, and I need to read this book through. I read this about 2 to 3 years ago, and it really started pointing out things in my head of like, yeah, I've told this story to myself my whole life. This has always happened to me. And it started showing me as I worked through the questions and worked through reading through the book of, wow, I really do need help. I thought it was fine, but maybe I do need some professional help eventually. And go figure, I'm in getting professional counseling now for some stuff that's happened to me in life. This book put me on the right path to where I could identify the things that I need to work on so that when I got help, I could get more specific help on issues that I already know were there and I was struggling to get past them myself. So, yeah. Get this book. You can pick it up on Amazon, or he is part of the Ramsey Network. Whatever your thoughts are on Ramsey, get this book and read this book. And read everything Dr. John Deloney has written. He has another book out on redefining anxiety. I'll review that a little bit later, but get this book, read this book multiple times in your life. This is one of the things, I don't care what your religious persuasion is, I don't care what lifestyle you live, read this book. Yes, I will. Yes, I review like some Christian living books, fiction books, and I don't want to turn away one person or the other, regardless of your reading tastes, what you like, whether or not you read inspirational books, self-help books, Christian living books, if you only read fiction, if you only read smut, if you only read Stephen King, especially if you only read Stephen King, you need to read this book. You have a lot of things in your head you need help with. I don't care what your reading tastes are, what religious, political persuasion, whatever that my audience is or becomes, whatnot. I don't care where you find yourself in life. Buy this book and read this book, or get it from the library and read this book. Ask a friend if they have this book, if you can borrow it to read it. Everyone should read this book because of how incredibly helpful and impactful it is. He takes psychology, which is a very nuanced, nitpicky science that we are still learning about, and simplifies it so where it can help everybody. And maybe you would be like me and you think you're fine, and then you realize, wait, no, I do have some bad thought patterns in my head that's not helping my life at all. Maybe I do need professional counseling. Or maybe you aren't that bad off, but this points out some minor things in your life you need to work on and fix in your life. This book is worth everyone's time. Everyone who can get this book should read this book. And I'll stop beating the dead horse. Get this and read this if you haven't. And if you have read this, be like me and read it again. And with that, I'll remind you that God loves you and wants to spend forever with you. And I want you to have a good life here on earth.